How much did my wife and I make running our mobile mechanic business? Let's put some numbers on the whiteboard for you and show you exactly how much we made and what it cost us to run the company. All right, so we had a total of 18 ROs last week, and we sold 31.3 hours in total labor sales. And then within that, we had $402.38 per average RO sales, okay? And then our average RO profit margin was 60.98%. That's a pretty good margin for last week, especially with all the big jobs that we did. Now, our gross sales within those jobs was $7,242.84. Not a bad week at all. That was actually a pretty killer week for us. All right, so now what did it really cost us to do this? Let's talk right now parts cost. This week was a lot. It cost me $1,824.57 in parts. That's what I had to pay for all the parts we used this week on customers' vehicles. So now we also have another cost. That's our labor technician hours that are on our ticket. That cost me $1,001.60. That's what it cost if I had to pay a technician. Now, some of that is going to piss a little bit of you people off, and that's okay. This dollar amount really is subjective. When you look at, you can look at it multiple ways. And I'll explain that to you right now. All right, so why do I say that this is a little subjective? Well, for multiple reasons. I'm not going to get too deep into it here, but I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on what I'm talking about. So on paper, in my system as a technician, if I was paying myself flat rate, I would have had to pay myself $1,001. That's great. That means we did pretty decent this week because as my salary, I pay myself $50,000 a year as a base salary. That's not all that I take home. I take home more than that because I'm an owner and I take owner draws at the end of a month or at the end of 2 months, whatever I need to do. But as my base salary, that's $961 a week that I have to pay, that I pay myself. So that's why I've been telling you guys that you have to learn what a loaded labor is based on if you're going to pay yourself a salary to make sure your front end software is set up right. And now that's not a discussion for this video. It just, if you go back to the numbers that I said, the system says it cost me this, but in reality, it only cost me that. So it's not a huge difference. As long as we're turning the hours, our numbers equal out pretty damn well. So I'm not stressed about the $40 difference on this past week. Now, if this number was like 700, then I would start looking at some productivity and find out what the hell's going on and why I didn't turn hours that past week. Maybe I took a day off, or maybe we just had jobs that kicked my butt. Who knows? Or just a slow week. It happens. But just keep in mind that if your system says it's costing you this, make sure it's pretty close to what you're actually paying yourself so you can make sure your margins are good. Okay, so what does my company actually cost me? I've mentioned this in the past, certain numbers. It is now changed. Now that my wife is here, the company costs a lot more to run. In a previous video, I did mention that the company costs us $160,800 every year to run it. That's a lot of freaking money. If you want to know all the details on that, you'll have to stick around to the end of the month video because that's where we will break down every dollar on this to show you exactly where it goes and why it's really not that bad. But with this number, that actually breaks down to $3,092 every week. That's how much the company actually costs me. So now, if we were to add in only the parts from last week, which I don't remember the number, so I'm going to check it real quick. $18.24, I think it said it cost me in parts. Yeah. So with that, the company this week cost us, let's see, 6, that's 11, so that's 8, that's 9, and that's 4. So the company cost us $49.16, and we had $72.42 in gross sales minus $49.16. I am not doing that type of math on camera, so you guys can freaking laugh at me. $72.42 minus $49.16. That's $23.26 that the company netted at the end of this week. Now, I think there might be a little bit of extra cost in there, maybe about $100. That's in my shop supplies, because I think I had to buy some extra shop supplies and restock a little bit of inventory. But not a lot. I didn't buy anything crazy this week. We're talking like gloves. I think I had to pick up rags and something else. So it wasn't anything crazy. So we netted $2,326. That means that's what the company holds on to free and clear. And that's not a bad number. That's actually pretty freaking good, because even if we were to do that every single week, 52 weeks, that's $120,000 that the company nets at the end of the year. And even if we're half wrong, that's still $61,000. It's not bad. It's really freaking good for running a little mobile mechanic business out here with just my wife and I. It earns us a very, very nice living, and we make a very good salary doing this. And now some people are like, oh, you only pay yourselves $90,000 a year. No, we don't. We pay ourselves more. That's our base salary. So if you want to know what our true numbers are, stick around to the end of the month. We're almost there. We got one more week to go. And then we're going to break down our complete monthly margin, show you where every dollar actually goes and what the proper profit margins are for every single category running a company. So stick around. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.